Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Plenty of questions have come, and we apologise for starting slightly later today. Don Hutchison, would you like to explain why?
Tech problems, Daniel.
Oh, what a surprise. That's the
Couldn't get
first
the
for
thing
you,
going.
isn't it? No.
Well, that's one of my
Just
pet
couldn't
peeves.
get it going.
One of my pet peeves with this show
There's quite a few. If we do a power ranking.
is quite often over the years, because we have a lot of guys on remotely from different countries, right?
Yes,
And
yep.
sometimes there is technical problems.
Yes.
And we have to wait on them. I'm very much in the let's not wait
Yes.
sort of camp.
Just get on with
Let's soldier on and let them
Craig,
sort it out.
to be fair, I was online at 10 to 10 my time. So a good
40
40 minutes I was banging away at it. So I wasn't like, I didn't turn up like 5 minutes earlier and had a bit of 40 minutes I couldn't get it going for. My fault.
No. That's surprising.
No, listen, I appreciate the professionalism and the effort, but my point is,
Thank you.
at 5:30 on the dot, when the hand gets to that.
But Dan's
Down
a
the
bit
way.
like Fonseca. Dan's not going to
When it
make
gets
that.
to 5:30,
Dan's Fonseca. He ain't going to
confused.
make that call.
It's
Dan's
my
not
call
going
to
to make
make.
that
What
call,
am
is he?
I?
It's Fonseca.
Isn't it a puppet? I just read whatever's put in front of me. That's it.
When I walked in here, Shaq was getting some, and I walked in before I got the mics and everything on. You went, Don's got technical problems, and it's a good job the mic wasn't on.
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it was not happening. And the first thing I said, we're starting at 5:30.
Yep.
Right, but again, buckling is going on. Buckling.
Right. Well,
I don't have time to buckle because I'm sat at home 5:30. I'm switching it on. I got my feet up.
Feet up,
and
excited.
If it's just spooling the music, then I'm not happy.
No.
Right, so
Well,
5:30.
add that to the list. We talked about these yesterday. It's the same question. During a match, Don, if one of your teammates got into a scuffle with an opponent, did you immediately run over and get involved, or did you just sit back and watch the ruckus?
Yeah. No, get involved. Go over and help him, or get involved. A bit of verbals, nothing wrong with that. You got to show your mate that you're with him. Can't just
What if
back
he's
off
not your
and
mate,
sit
Don?
and watch?
Would it depend on who it was, though?
Yeah, if he's not your mate, you just let him get on with it.
Right. Yes.
You let him get on with it, have a laugh, and go. Yeah, you picked on the wrong one there, lad. Nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that was Cole Palmer, wasn't it, at the weekend? Just sat back.
But that was a sensible thing to do, wasn't it? Because that wasn't a... You might as well not get involved now. Because there's nothing happens.
Right.
Nothing.
I'm not saying as if everything happened back in your day. It was a lot of pushing and shoving then as well, wasn't it?
Well, there's a lot of stamping on people. There was people... Well, let's have a little trickle back. There was people stamping on people. There was punches. I do believe there was a Frenchman jumped in the crowd and kung fu kicked somebody at Selhurst Park.
Right.
Things were a little different back then.
Oh, I don't know. You're selling it as if you would go in there fists flying. I'm not sure.
No, but there was
Tunnel
more.
fighting,
I'm not
Dan.
advocating. But I'm not advocating for people watching. I'm not like that, right? But I'm not advocating punching people. But I'm saying there's nothing happens in these scenarios now, right? It's a waste of time. You might as well go and stand back.
So what were you? Were you a get involved no matter what?
Of course I was.
Yeah, of course you were, yeah.
Well, you have to get involved, and even if it wasn't somebody that was a...
Wasn't even a fight. It was nobody's even fighting.
Well, as I told you,
It was on his own.
Nobody's even fighting. You just start throwing haymakers.
well, as I've told you many times on this show, I did get involved until Eddie Akinbaye took his shirt off. I remember that at Leicester. Oh, he was white.
Oh dear.
And then I just saw all the lads heading for the confession.
God.
You got to pick your poison. You got to pick your poison.
You called Pulisic week. Look at
No, I was last in.
you. That was it.
Yeah.
Shaka, you're a lover, not a fighter, are you?
I'm not going all the way up there to have to run all the way back to my goal.
But what if it happens within...
Oh, I'm in.
What contribution are you making to this, Shaq?
I'm negotiating.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
He's a big lad.
Yeah, but he's a big softy, Shaka.
He's got a side to him.
He has a glass of... I've never seen that side.
Yeah, and you don't want to, Dan.
Oh, really?
You don't want to.
Really? Craig, it's international break.
It's great. I'm loving it.
Start, bench or drop these topics for the next 2 weeks.
I'm not in the next 2 weeks.
We're off. All three of us are off. It's timing. Ten Hag, Manchester United, Nation League games.
Yeah, what?
Mbappe's fit in Real Madrid's squad. Which of those three topics would you want to avoid the most? Can we put Cristiano Ronaldo scoring as well in there?
I don't mind Cristiano Ronaldo scoring. How do I mind that?
I think you had a huff when it happened when I was away, I heard.
People just talk about me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that where we've arrived at?
Well, that was it. That was the
What
gossip. That was the gossip in the WhatsApp group, not Craig.
Okay. I wouldn't want to be in your WhatsApp. I come to work and then I leave. Right. What? I didn't get in the huff with Cristiano Ronaldo, did I? I don't know. I can't.
Oh no.
Maybe I did.
All right.
So what's getting dropped? You mean what would be the worst one?
Yes.
Nations League.
Nations League.
Right.
Yes.
Then Mbappe being fit, we have La Liga, it's a big story.
Right.
But nothing's bigger at the moment than them dilly-dallying over...
But there's going to be nothing new, that's the problem, isn't it? It's like that meeting today,
Well, I've had this...
new.
Well, exactly. So
So what are we going to say that's new about it?
we can batter the Ineos and all the Jason Wilcox,
Yes.
Omar Barada, Sir Dave Brailsford, all them that are dilly-dallying. Did you see that one yesterday? Ineos were having a meeting at Old Trafford before the one in London, and Gary Neville was there as well.
Oh, nice.
I mean, maybe he wasn't. If he wasn't having a part of the meeting, then fair enough. But have a day off. What's it got to do with him?
Well, they just want all the voices.
They got the Oracle in, didn't they?
Huh? What, Don?
Got the Oracle in, didn't they?
Seriously, have a day off. Busy. Was getting in there.
What is it going to be, sir?
Cheerleader. Why would you get cheerleaders in to make decisions? Busy. That's what you say for somebody that's busy.
Oh, busy bee.
Busy. Yeah, busy. Involving everything, you know. Want a day off? No, I'm a day off. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, do a podcast, do this.
That's like Shaka.
You just couldn't believe it. These people that are running this football club really want the input from all these ex-Man U players. Seriously?
I know.
Have a joke. Well, that's me out of the next get-together with the Man U.
Oh, you'll be out of that WhatsApp group.
And Ineos not calling you.
What a bunch they are.
Don, can Van Nistelrooy take over the reins at United? What can he realistically change that he can't as a current assistant manager? Shouldn't assistants identify areas of weakness and improvement for the manager?
I think it's absolutely inevitable. I don't know if you've seen the game against Porto. He got a yellow card because he was showing like a little bit of passion, and I can imagine that was done on purpose, just so the Man United fans can see he shows a little bit of passion. Van Nistelrooy, I'm with Craig. I mean, what's the point in talking Ten Hag? Because I don't know what they're waiting on. It's inevitable that he'll get the sack. I don't know when. I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know what they think's going to happen that's going to change. I mean,
sorry, Don.
We've all seen the stats.
Just to that point, then as an assistant manager, does he have any influence at all then?
I would imagine so. I would imagine he's got an opinion. I would imagine he's got a voice that Ten Hag wants to listen to. The only thing I find really bizarre when that sort of happens, Dan, is when a manager gets the sack and the assistant manager in Ruud van Nistelrooy say he takes over. When I've seen that happen in the past, and they sort of play a different system or they go with different personnel, I always think, well, weren't you telling the manager that when he was in charge? Weren't you trying to help him? So I would totally understand that Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to get the job if that happens, and I think it will at some point before the end of the season. I think it's inevitable. But I'd love to see what he's going to change, because why isn't he making a change with his input at the moment? I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, the manager, at the end of the day, you can tell him to play Tom, Dick and Harry, but it's his head on the block, Ten Hag, so he'll make the decision. I think as big a part of the problem with performance, which has been pretty bad, again, in the tactics, is the players that under him he's allowed to come in. Now, he may not have had the full say on a lot of them, but you're not telling me Joshua Zirkzee was on United, not on. You're not telling me Anthony wasn't a player that he wanted. You're not telling me Matthijs de Ligt wasn't a player that he wanted. There's a list of them that have all come in under his watch that I think were pushed for by him, and that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem.
Do you have a different relationship with an assistant coach than you do a manager?
As a player?
Yes.
Well, usually, yes.
So then that changes the dynamic.
It's usually it's not always the case, but it's usually a more... Now, you get some assistant coaches that doesn't really happen so much now, but back in the day, they were like sergeant majors, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Balling and
Ronnie
shouting.
Moran.
that name may have been mentioned before. So, but things have changed a little bit, and I think over the period when I was playing, you have more of a matey relationship with it, more of a friendly relaxed relationship, and you know ultimately the manager is making the big decision.
Right.
So that relationship is a lot of the times a little bit different, not always, but quite often.
I agree. I think, well, certainly teams I play with, the relationship between players and assistant manager, whoever, very different. He's a go-between.
Is he kind of a conduit?
Yeah, he's a go-between. So he's, half player, half management, and kind of bridges that gap. And then to your question, if he takes over the hot seat, now all of a sudden...
You're not matey with him.
No, you can't, because now he's leaving players out, he's dropping players. So inevitably the relationship becomes very different. And then, and to Van Nistelrooy, you could say, Van Nistelrooy could say to Ten Hag, start Rashford, or don't take him off at half-time, whatever game it was. And Ten Hag just does whatever he wants. And as the assistant, you can't say anything. You certainly can't say anything publicly.
Well, good thing it doesn't fall on you. No one's.
Right, yeah, but also you can't say anything publicly. So it's not as though people are going to say, "Oh, well, Van Nistelrooy told him that." So he's going to have to publicly support whatever Ten Hag does, whether he agreed with it or not, whether he advised him against it or not.
The other side of it is that, and it's a silly little thing, but say we'll just take the Ten Hag, Ruud van Nistelrooy. So the players will be calling him rude at the moment.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe a few other things. Probably not, but probably calling him rude. If he does get the job and he walks in the dressing room and says, it's not rude anymore,
right,
it's boss.
Okay.
Right? Which, a lot of them do see.
Right.
Some of these players might be like, oh, is that right? Mm-hmm. Oh, is that right? The big head's here. So you have... It's a very fine balance to strike. And you can't... It's a difficult fence to straddle. I mean, when, Ruud Gullit, to give him credit, when he became manager at Chelsea after being a player, just didn't say, call me rude.
Right.
And whatever, and we did. He wasn't bothered about that, but some are, and it's a difficult, as I say, fence to straddle, because you don't want players to think of you as some sort of big head. No, he's got the job now. Look, look at him.
Sure.
So it's not an easy transition.
Don, do you want to add anything?
No. Always nailed it.
All right. No, that's fine.
Don, that's what we like.
More decisive.
I mean, why are you even asking?
Well, because I thought this is quite interesting for me. Right. It's the first interesting bit of the show.
Tell you what, I did well today not to have a real sort of rant on that Iniesta.
Yes, but I feel that what you saved on Iniesta, you let Pulisic have. Yes.
Well, why wouldn't you let Pulisic have it, sitting back like a little kid in the candy shop when everybody steals your sweets? I mean, seriously. Somebody's getting a punch.
Why don't bring that back up? Don.
If American fans of US soccer are upset, right in. Our boss loves it. Right to the boss.
Right in. I've got ESPN Bristol.
It's not been the first, and you won't be the last.
Don, what would you do in Trent's shoes? Stay at Liverpool and create a legacy better than Stevie G's, or go to Madrid and win trophies every year?
Do you know what? It's been the topic of conversation between me and pals last few days. I think the honest answer is, Dan, I think you have to go Real Madrid. I think you have to try it. Trent's been at Liverpool 20 years, and he's won everything there is to win in the game. Now, Liverpool fans would be desperate for him to stay, and rightly so, because he's a great player. But if you're Trent and your contract's running down, and you can play for Liverpool and you can win trophies and you can be a legend at the football club, one club man, all of that, or you can try and go to Real Madrid and you're playing with Jude Bellingham, Vinny Jr., Mbappe, all the legends that are playing there. You can put on the white shirt and test it and see if you're good enough, and you can win more Champions Leagues, you can win La Ligas. There's plenty of time for Trent still to come back. So I think if I was in his shoes, I think I'd go.
You've been talking to your football friends about this?
Well, actually, it's been a real topic of conversation at my golf club.
Oh, yeah?
Amongst all my American friends.
You and the dogs, you're taking the dogs for a walk?
Some of them who say to me, hey, do Real Madrid play in the Premier League? And I'm like, oh, just end it here.
Right.
Let it be. So, Liverpool, great football club. But Madrid is Madrid, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you get the chance to go there, might only be that chance, that one chance. you got to take it if it comes along. You've got to take it.
Does it make any difference that Bellingham is there?
No.
And they're tight?
No.
He's your mate? No?
I think it's an easy decision. You go to Madrid.
You're gone. That's
Yeah.
it. Done. Don, as the expert in Italian football, has Pulisic been the best player in Serie A so far this season?
He probably has, you know. I mean, Thuram scored a hat-trick at the weekend. Yeah, I'd probably say he has, you know. I think he's done really well. Conte's ripping up, top of the league, so Lukaku's been good. But I think he would be in the conversation, top 3 for sure.
Must be easy to play there.
Start, bench or drop? These players based on this season only. Van Dijk, Saliba, Van de Ven. It's for you, Don.
Start Van Dijk. Bench Saliba, drop Van de Ven.
Oh. Anyone want to add anything?
I'd start Saliba.
Oh.
That's all I want to add.
Thanks, Shaq.
You're welcome.
Liverpool only conceded 1 goal.
Yeah. I'm not playing anybody. We
I
discussed
see,
this.
right.
Discuss this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obligatory percentage question for Don. The percentage chance you give Chelsea finishing top 4 this season right now. Here we go.
Yeah, well, here we go, Dan, because they've come out of nowhere because I had Newcastle 4th.
They're rubbish.
I would probably make them... Yeah. I'd probably make Chelsea favourites amongst the teams that are trying to get there. Man United have got no chance.
Yeah,
Zero chance.
Yeah, okay,
So I think
right, Don, you got to percentage it up.
All right, 60%.
60%. That's
high.
Wow, to finish in the top 4.
You'd have to ask yourself, are they a better outfit over the course of a season than Aston Villa? And I think at the moment the answer would be no. They've been exciting, more exciting than they have been. They still have a lot of work to do defensively, but you know we know about that. They're definitely in a better position, but to me they are not yet. And Tottenham are a bit of an anomaly. I mean, they're a hit and a miss. If they get it together, I think they're a better outfit than Chelsea.
It's a big if.
Again, that's what I say, it's a big if. I would say 30% chance at the moment.
So, Don, you've got Chelsea at 60. What a Villa?
Here we go. Yeah, I sort of knew you were going to come back with this. Villa remind me, Dan. Villa remind me of what Newcastle were when they were in the Champions League.
Okay,
it's
so
going
what
to be tough
percentage?
for them. Well, let me just backtrack a little bit because what I know exactly how your brain works. And you want me to say 40%, but then you want me to give Newcastle, Tottenham, and the likes no percent.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to backtrack.
Oh, no.
So, yes,
Right.
Villa are in the conversation. Let me go 40% Chelsea,
Okay.
30% Villa, and the other two can split 15
Okay.
each.
15 each.
Newcastle and Tottenham.
There we are.
Hold on. Did you say 40 and 40?
No, 40 and 30.
Right. There's a fair bit of buckling there, wasn't there?
There was. But he's learned,
Wow,
because in
wait.
the old days he would have just gone
It's like Pulisic there.
40.
I mean, he
Shaka.
would have just, Don would have just went like that with a penalty. There you go. Oh, it's your birthday. You have it.
No chance.
Oh, dear. This is all in capital letters, Shaka.
Is it shouting?
Yeah, shouting. Shaka, are you surprised by Havertz's performance as a striker? Because you have been really critical of him in the past.
He's been good. Well, he was good last game. It's good last game.
Good last game. It's not a one-off.
Do you know what?
Been all right. He's listen. I as you know, I have a lot of friends who are Arsenal fans who
All right, they
talk
like
to me
Dortmund
about Havertz. So the Man City game was a classic. Man City game was a classic because Opta come out with stats that him and Timber completed no passes all game long.
Yeah.
To which all my mates were like, yeah, but he played well. I'm like, how do you do that? He didn't complete a single pass all game. He's a striker. Yeah, but he played well.
But he has played well this season.
If you complete a pass, I'll accept that.
Shaka, I'm surprised.
No, I'm just saying. When he's good, I'll say he's good. When he's not, I'll say that. But I feel like there's this effort to convince everybody that Havertz has been better than he actually has at times.
Wow.
And by the way, you
Was
know,
that not in a game when they were down to 10 men, though, Shaq?
For 45
was
minutes,
that
yeah,
not in the
but
game,
sure.
the Man City
yeah,
game, when they were
okay,
down to
for
10 men?
45 minutes. But you had 45 minutes to complete 11 v 11 to complete one pass. One pass!
Do you know what gets me, though, is that
So much.
Havertz clearly is doing much better as a front man.
Very much so.
But what gets me is that this is falling in Arteta's lap. Right? Arteta's grand plan was to bring him in and play him where he played him at the start in the midfield.
To replace
Gabriel Jesus was going to play
Yeah.
to replace Granit Xhaka. Gabriel Jesus was going to play up front. And the grand plan was Havertz as a midfielder, which failed relatively miserably. So the fact that Jesus was out of form and injured, both, and Eddie Nketiah couldn't really step up in the long term, and the fact that Havertz was struggling, meant he had to go up
Oh,
front.
that's harsh.
No, let me tell you. What if Gabriel Jesus had been playing well and scoring? What would he have done with Havertz? Because Havertz in the midfield for Arsenal against the better teams was not working. Was it working or not?
But it's not just luck, is it? It's not just luck that Havertz is playing up front.
Listen,
Wait, where did he buy him to play?
In the centre midfield.
Right. That was his. All I'm saying is that was his grand plan.
Right.
And we all sat here, most of us, and said, "This ain't going to work. The best position for him is where he's playing now." So it fell on his lap.
I have no problem with that. If
I don't have a problem with it. I'm merely pointing it out.
Joe
Not a
Linton is a
problem with
classic
it.
example
Joe
of that. Yeah, him. Where he was brought to be a striker for Newcastle, now all of a sudden it's turned into an outstanding.
Yeah, but that's a different manager.
Yeah, I get it. But to the question,
Too many flaws in that.
to the question, all I'm saying is when he's good, I'll say he's good, as he was on the weekend. When he's not, I'll say he's not, as he was against City.
Well, that wasn't a very good.
For all, Don often tells us about his nightmare spell at Millwall. What was it like playing against the Millwall teams of that era? You must have played Millwall back in the day. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I played against Millwall for Reading when I first started, and then played against them for Pompey. We battered them.
They got a
at the new
reputation,
den.
of course. Fans.
Yeah, but they'd moved to the new stadium then.
They moved to the new den at
which
that
was
point.
slightly less
Right.
intimidating.
Oh, okay.
Not completely, because you know there was a bunch of nutters in the crowd.
Right.
But the old den was like bad water. It was like fighting there all the time.
It's crazy. I'm pretty sure I played against Casey.
Okay.
When I first started at Reading, we were struggling. Millwall was doing quite well in what was in today's money League One. So the fans didn't bother too much about us. They beat us and just let us on our way. When I came back with Pompey, I think we beat them 5-0 at the Den, and we got applauded off and no trouble at all. No. And I was as an ex-West Ham at that point, I was expecting.
I scored against Casey. I told you this when he was at Millwall, but we played them. That was the second leg at Stamford Bridge, where their fans also, at the end of it, invaded the pitch. Because the Millwall Chelsea, as well as the Millwall West Ham, was a messy sort of bunch of supporters. But we played the first leg of the FA Cup. I think it was fourth round. Was at the new. Is it the new Den they call it?
Yeah,
it was at the new Den, and towards the end of the game, there was all sorts going on in the corner of the pitch, and there was police horses, which I think they were actually on the pitch. The game was continuing. They weren't right on the pitch, don't get me wrong, but they were on a portion of it in the corner because the two sets of fans were battling and chucking stuff. And the game was sort of, I think the referee was oblivious to it, how bad it was, and the game was going on. It was near the end, so it's... And then when you walk to the car, but they're a very hard-nosed bunch of supporters. I don't know if that's changed or not. South London's can be a very sort of tough place.
What was it? The slogan, everyone hates us, but we don't care, Don?
Yeah. Because they had a mad reputation. So did many. I mean, Craig mentioned Chelsea. It was an era coming through, not that I played in, but you sort of watch as a kid when when it was full of hooligans in the sort of 70s and 80s, just coming out of it in the early 90s. But I think out of most of the clubs, and this is an ex-West Ham player talking, but I think they kept hold of their sort of hardcore supporters, if you like, and it took them quite a while. I think the club, to be fair to Millwall, the club, when Theo Pethitis was there, was working really, really hard behind the scenes to get rid of that hooligan tag that they had, and they worked really hard to try and get rid. It's just how do you do that with a sort of old school supporter that's, you know, lived his life watching Millwall. It was difficult, and some of them still go, but I think over the generations, over time, I think most of them have calmed down now. I've not been back for a while, but I only say it because I left Millwall and went straight to West Ham, which is just an absolute no-no. And I was like, you know, I was getting followed to the car, and it was like, it was hard work, you know, it was like, right, I just need to get out of here. I just need to go, like, I can't be here any longer.
Did you ever go back and play there, Don, as an opponent?
Yeah, I went back a few times, but it's never as bad, Dan, because I think what they hold on to, the Millwall fans, is they obviously hate lads from Chelsea, they hate like anyone, London, West Ham, you know, Tottenham, any of the boys from London, they just hold on to that. And it's just so sort of, it's so hard, and it's really brutal, and everything's like, they hate you with a passion, they can't stand you, and they'll give you language, and not just them, that's just how it was at the time. But when you go back then as a sort of Coventry player, it's never then as bad because you're just a Coventry player. It's like, they might give you a little bit, you might get a whistle, but it's never quite as bad because you've not gone straight from West Ham to Millwall. That was the overriding thing. It was a player, because Stephen Bywater was another one that went, who was a goalkeeper that went from West Ham to Millwall, and I'm pretty sure Steve Lomas done the same thing, I think, as a coach as well. So yeah, it was a bad move from my part. It was a stupid move.
It wasn't just going to the old end and playing the supporters. It wasn't just the supporters. Back in the late 80s and the very early 90s, it was the team as well.
Okay.
So you had up front, you had big Tony Cascarino and Teddy Sheringham. Teddy was and then I can't remember them all, but midfield was Terry Hurlock. You remember Terry Hurlock? Oh boy.
Right.
Don? Oh boy.
Yeah.
He proper, hard, and then you want to see the guys at the back, and I mean, tough as old boots, and I mean fighting, snapping your just hard. So it was not just back then, the supporters.
Yeah.
This was a big, physical, horrible team that could actually play a little bit as well, but you wouldn't want to fight them.
What if Terry Hurlock wanted to take a penalty and you're the designated penalty taker?
Oh, okay, Terry. Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Terry! Terry, I'm not feeling well. You play it.
That is it. We are done. Thank you very much. ESPN FC returns tomorrow. Craig's here again tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Who's retiring tomorrow?
That's it. I'm off for a week. So Shaka. See you later.